absolutely jacked at the progression that we saw from the offseason program to now where we're at through 3 preseason games.
Fires. That ball's going to be caught underneath. That's Parker Washington. Dives for the goal line. Touchdown. A 7-yard touchdown pass from Trevor Lawrence to Parker Washington, and Jacksonville strikes first.
Pretty juiced up about the fact that we got 4 running backs who we feel very confident in. Obviously, as you think about what Liam deployed in Tampa Bay, it was a committee approach, and we look forward to bringing that to life here in Jacksonville, and making sure that everybody gets the ops that they deserve in a way that contributes to a successful outcome for us.
Running play with Tootin. Tries to pick his way. Broke a tackle. Got it inside the 5. Kept those legs churning. They're still churning. Toward the goal line. Tootin near the goal line. Touchdown! He carried defenders with him into the end zone for the score.
I think when you have high demands for players and expectations of standards, it can become easier to sift through who makes the most sense moving forward and who makes the most sense for being here. Certainly excited about the group that we got in the moment, but can't say that it was with any intent to get to a certain number or percentage of roster turnover.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Jeff Lageman, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody, and happy game week. For the first time in 2025, we are ready to go. The Jacksonville Jaguars will host the Carolina Panthers coming up in just 5 days. Tony Smith, it's a mystery when things have changed as much as they have in this offseason. Maybe you get the box open and you get the 2025 Florida State Seminoles. Maybe you open it up and you get the 2025 UNC Tar Heels. You don't know yet.
Don't know. Week one's always a mystery across the league. There are teams that we expect to be good that turn out to be not so good. Teams we expect to be bad that turn out to be way better than you thought going through an entire offseason. So you don't know exactly what's underneath the tree until we actually get to opening the gifts. That doesn't start till Sunday against Carolina. I'm pretty confident that Jacksonville and Carolina are kind of both in that middle class in the NFL, however large that might be. I think Jacksonville should be better than Carolina at this point. I think their roster is better than Carolina's.
I think we're going to be talking about them going 1-0
right
this week. I have a lot of confidence in this outcome.
They ought to win this week against Carolina, but that's up to them and whatever they do on the field on Sunday.
All right, let's say hello to our man, Jeff Lageman. This is officially a Check the Tape Tuesday, although no game film to watch, Logs. I'm sure you've peeked ahead a little bit. Do you share our enthusiasm for this Week 1 matchup for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Yeah, I share your enthusiasm, but, cautiously optimistic. We kind of look at it through our teal-colored glasses, in Carolina, they're looking at it through their blue-colored glasses. I mean, heck, if you look back, Carolina won 5 games last year. That's one more than the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they're probably saying some of the same things. So, it's easy to be excited at this point, but the reality is if you're just, from Mars – and looking down at this matchup coming up this week, I don't know if you would say that the Jaguars should win or are better than the other team. I think that somebody would say, hey, this is a good matchup. 2 equally paired teams that had similar results last year.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I totally understand that. But I look at, I feel like with the new coaching staff, the new pieces that have been put in place, all the newness that they don't have in Carolina to build off of what they did last year, plus the injuries, Jeff. I mean, first off, they trade Adam Thielen away, thinking that Jalen Coker is going to ascend to be their slot receiver, and then he goes on injured reserve, so they're signing Hunter Renfrow back, who's been a decent player at times, but he was a guy that wasn't good enough this time around to make their team. When they thought Coker was going to be healthy. And Ike Ekwonu, their left tackle, had an appendectomy just a few days ago. So we don't know what his effectiveness, if he's even going to be able to play. I think there's some of those advantages. Not that the Jags are pristine. They've got a few guys banged up themselves, but I don't think they rise to the level of the players that Carolina was counting on.
Yeah, no players that have an emergency appendectomy. But, also I think Damian Lewis is dealing with a little bit of a shoulder. But I think if you're in Carolina, you're sitting there saying, okay, it's Bryce Young's 3rd year. We expect him to take a big next step. And, there's a lot of argument as to whether he actually improved last year. A lot of people got excited about the last 3 games that he played in. last year because they averaged 31 points a game. But, you watch the film, and I watched a little bit of them from last year. He still makes some mistakes. His arm strength is somewhat limited, but he is athletic. When he delivers the ball, Carolina can be dangerous. But at the same token, there's things that he misses. There's a reason why he's only a 60% passer and why many people felt that he was a bust. So it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be an exciting game because it's the opener. Openers are always exciting, and the hope is always gushing over the top, and especially for this football team with all the newness around it.
Where do you think the Jaguars' biggest advantage potentially lies in the matchup against Carolina?
For me, Tony, I go right there to the quarterback position. This is year 5 for Trevor. And even though it's a new system, look, I get that. But he's got to be, I think, head and shoulders above where Bryce Young is at. Bryce Young was benched his first year. Trevor had an okay first year, even though it was a complete show from a coaching standpoint. And even though Trevor's been through a couple head coaches, look, he's got more experience. I think he has more proven weapons, and weapons that I believe are legitimate, big play players, with De'Ami Brown and Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter, Brent Strange in the running back room. I think you can make the case that Carolina has some weapons. I think Chuba Hubbard being the best one that they have.
Mm-hmm.
He's wildly consistent. He's a great back running. He's a great back out of the backfield. The offensive line is almost returning completely intact for the Carolina Panthers. So, there's some equality, but to me, Trevor's got to be better than a Bryce Young, and I think that's got to be the difference.
You're absolutely right. He does need to be better than that, and we have hope that he will be, and we'll discuss that today and moving forward throughout the course of the week. If you want to get in with Jeff Lageman, you know the ways to do it, primarily at 641-1010 on the Checkmate Coatings phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can stream us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. I'll give out those social media handles in a second. But first, let me check in with the young Denmark coach. How are things?
Oh, everything's great. Great weekend.
Everything's good in the Baldwin world?
Yep, we're undefeated still, 2-0.
2-0.
Went down to Palaka and won 31-14.
Down.
Went down to Palataka.
How about that, man? And you followed through on your watermelon-themed fantasy team name last night, which we appreciated your perseverance on that front as well. 2 more drafts to go for the Jaguars Today leagues over the next couple of days. All right, so Jeff Lageman's here. Hit us up today with your questions for Jeff, your musings, your concerns, your predictions, what have you. At MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, at Logs56, or at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
All right, we're ready to go. It's game week for the first time all year. The Liam Cohen, James Gladstone, Tony Baselli era begins this Sunday in earnest. Let's talk about it with Jeff Lageman on a Check the Tape Tuesday. Keep it right here on Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. There's a key that opens a very special door. The Jaguars locker room. Go in the locker room with Hayes Carline to get closer to the Jags. Unlocked by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, so here's a reminder to get screened. Ackerman Urology has 4 convenient locations to help you put your prostate health first. Guys, don't put this one off. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Jaguars Today Tuesday.
Protected by Shillington Creek Pest Control. Our family serving yours since 1984.
The drip from a leaky faucet isn't just annoying, it's wasteful. Worn parts or corrosion could waste thousands of gallons a year. Superior Plumbing and Pipeline will fix it fast. When your faucet's leaking, make the superior choice. Learn more at superiorplumbingjacks.com.
Fish know where to hide. Captain Kevin knows how to find them.
That's a big one.
Listen for the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show, brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Royal Pest Services.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Looking for a great place to enjoy some craft creations and soak up some scenery? Fernandina's Mocama Beer Company is a must-see and must-try. Nassau County knows it. Visitors need to find out about it. Mocama means near the big water where the sun is born. And if you visit their tap room in Fernandina Beach, you'll see how they've mastered equal parts precision and art in creating great flavors from IPAs to Pilsners, lagers, and sours, plus plenty more. Mocama.com, Mocama Beer Company. Start an adventure and find them in Fernandina.
I'll be honest with you, it is because of Beards that I felt so confident getting down on one knee because I knew she would love the ring.
Jacksonville native Dr. Arian Afshari talking about the engagement ring he got from Beards Diamonds.
I spent everything I had on that ring, so I really wanted it to be an awesome ring.
Dr. Afshari loved the fact that at Beards, nobody's on commission. In fact, they even showed him how he could get the look he wanted and spend less than he budgeted.
There was a bigger diamond and a nicer diamond that I was looking at, and they actually steered me away from that to make sure I wouldn't feel stressed out or financially burdened when I walked out of there, which was really nice.
And he loves the fact that Beards is locally owned for over 4 decades, a refreshing alternative to those big box corporate jewelers.
You've got the experts there to talk to you. I don't think you get that from anywhere else in the town center. You're just a number when you walk into a big box store.
Local owners, no middleman prices, massive selection, and a commitment to quality. Beards Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about letting things roll off of your back. So often we can make big deals out of things that are not really big deals. We can allow them to steal the joy of our day. But let me remind you that don't allow anyone or anything to steal the joy of today. Go out today not letting little things steal the big things that God has in store for you.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Prosser here again for Chad and Sandy, the local real estate experts you can trust. You might think you have a struggle ahead, but Chad and Sandy always have a solution, and ultimately it ends in a success story. Jacksonville area homes are selling, but getting the right price requires aggressive marketing and proven systems. Hiring the experts who know how to create demand is crucial. You need Chad and Sandy Newman. Need to sell now? Chad and Sandy have instant offers, fast, easy, stress-free. But, man, they deliver with the promises. The local real estate experts you can trust. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. No long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. Oh, and the proof is out there. Tom and Nicole in Mandarin. I got a new job in Louisiana. We found a new home. Now we'd have to sell fast to avoid paying 2 mortgages. Chad and Sandy did it. Use them today. ChadAndSandy.com. That's ChadAndSandy.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the final days of Sleep Number's biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale. Up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Ends Monday. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Jeff Lageman Tuesday
is brought to you by
Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, so Tony, we got our 3 Jaguars Today fantasy leagues, as we do every year. And as is the custom, like at ESPN, unless you're going to set the draft order yourself, it randomizes 1 hour before the draft. So you don't know until 60 minutes out what pick you're going to have. You ended up with the number 1 pick yesterday. Is that a blessing or a curse?
Didn't love it.
It's a long way to wait, right? Mm-hmm. You almost have to take Jamar Chase.
Yeah, in that big a league, you feel kind of pot committed to it.
Yeah.
Despite what happened in the league last year. I mean, the running backs were back, and they're like holding gold in fantasy again. And it had been a few years since it had felt that way in fantasy football. You could kind of, work your way through it. But last year wasn't one of those years still. Number 1 pick, you're kind of committed to the chase.
It just, if you let him go, you're like, oh, man. I bet then you got to choose which of those 3 or 4 running backs that you're going to make that pick and invest
hopefully
in.
I don't get stuck in that spot again tonight.
So we had Daniel Murphy in the league last night, DG, David Garrardson, all 3. We had D-Rock and Ozier in there. Today, we'll have E.T., we'll have Jamal St. Cyr. Who else are we forgetting? I think we've got the Fan Cam McManus team drafting with us tonight. DG will be back, and then more hijinks tomorrow as well. All right.
So Mike, how
Yes, sir.
bad is T-Mac in fantasy world?
He doesn't really. He just lends his name to the team kind of situation. Fan Cam's very good at fantasy. He's played with us for a long time. Now, I will say there were some occasions, Tone, was it last year, maybe the year before? They've been drafting together. They get together in Ponte Vedra, and they'll go, hang out at a local watering hole. And from what they tell us, occasionally Fan Cam will go, what do you think about this guy or this guy? And then, that's how Tom will get his input. He's not putting in a lineup. Let's just put it this way, right? He's lending his name and his cachet to the squad, which we'd love to have you do one year,
Well, you know me, I'm kind of, I like to watch from afar.
I understand.
All that stuff.
I understand.
But question, so if you're looking at the Jaguars and the Panthers, okay?
Yes.
Who would be the top 4 or 5 fantasy players that would be chosen? I mean, Chuba Hubbard's got to be right near the top with Brian Thomas Jr., right?
Yeah, BTJ's a first-round pick in almost every league, right? And we're saying it like in a 12-team league, right? Chuba is probably a 4th-round pick on average in a 12-team league, like somewhere early to middle of the 4th round.
And he'd be a good value, right?
Yeah. I like, if you're waiting on running back, the leagues we're playing in with Jaguars today, they're 14-team leagues, so you can't wait quite as long.
No.
But he is a pretty good value. Then probably Teteroa McMillan is the next one selected pretty consistently because he's their number 1. Then it would be Travis Hunter, and then it would be likely ETN. But it's, the order and the range where ETN, Bigsby, and Tootin go, right. Everyone takes their shots on those guys. And,
that's going to be a diluted pool right there.
Yeah, and then you wait on, you can get Trevor Lawrence as if you like him, you get him as like the 16th, 17th, 18th quarterback drafted. So you don't have to rush to get him usually. So, but Logs, we got a couple of questions. They're not strictly fantasy questions, but they're asking about the Jags running game. So let's start there.
Okay.
Marcus asked this. He says, Carolina's run defense was not good last year. They made some offseason changes. Did they do enough to keep the Jags' run-centric offense from having a big day? Joshua added, how awesome is it going to be when Travis Etienne quiets his haters after running wild on the Panthers? So somewhere in the middle, there's a question there, Logs. How do you like the Jags' running game matchup against the Carolina Panther run defense?
Well, I mean, I do, just because, if you look on paper, which is kind of all you're going off of, you look last year, what Carolina gave up nearly, almost 200 yards a game rushing or something. It was just ridiculous. And I think a big part of that was the ineffectiveness of their passing game. A lot of times when you're playing a team that doesn't score a lot of points, you have a tendency to be, as a play caller, to be a little bit more conservative because you know that the opponent's not going to score a lot of points. You're going to be a little bit more willing to run the ball, keep it tight to the vest, not make a mistake against a team that really wasn't, showing that they could win a lot of games last year in the Carolina Panthers. It'll be interesting to watch and see if Liam Cohn kind of goes with the same approach this year that teams took last year against Carolina because of the lack of points that they scored. The defense wasn't very good at stopping the run last year, and the Jaguars having a plethora of backs to choose from at any given time. So I think that's a really good question. I think the Jaguars will be committed to running the football. I think Etienne will be excited to play in this game because his brother's on the other side, and anytime that brothers get into competition, I think the level gets a little bit amped up, and you want to show that, hey, big brother's better. And so and Etienne, I think, is going to get the first kind of opportunity in this game and the first opportunity out of that running back room.
How do you expect them to use, as you just said, Etienne, you expect to be the starter? It sounds like for this weekend's game, we've had the questions throughout the entire offseason about how they're going to use the backs that they have here in Jacksonville with the 4. Do you expect all 4 to be active on Sunday against Carolina? And how do you expect them to use the backs behind Etienne?
I think that's a great question, Tony, because typically you only see teams have 3 backs elevated. and the Jaguars have 4 backs that I think are quality. You got to remember, too, that the Jaguars have a little bit of a luxury because of Travis Hunter as a wide receiver. Gives you kind of an extra position to activate, so to speak, on one side of the ball or the other. Will they utilize that extra spot as maybe a running back? Because the reality is that Quinn Allen Jr. and Bashal Tutin are really good special teams players. They're very willing, and they got speed, and so far that I've seen in the preseason, I think both of them do a pretty good job. But I think the very first game, I think the coach is a little bit more willing to trust veterans in the first game, especially in a game that you feel like that it's not going to take a lot of points to win that game. So you go with the guys that have a little bit more track record that you can trust, and that would be Etienne and Bigsby. And then you kind of see where everybody's at. You can get a handoff here or there to Bashal Tutin if he takes advantage of it and starts to look good and shows that he can hold on to the ball, and the Quinn Allen maybe gets a few reps here and there. Maybe he ends up getting more snaps as a third down back. But, I mean, that's going to be a very interesting situation. And my expectation, though, is that LaQuint Allen Jr. may end up being inactive, and then you'll utilize that extra spot or that gifted spot from Travis Hunter elsewhere in the equation.
Very interesting, man. I'm still not sure. I just believe Etienne will be up, and I'm not 100% sure that, you know what I mean? Like, I think it could be any of the other guys, but you make a good point, I think, about the veterans logs. Early on, you may prefer to lean on them. But, man, if LaQuint Allen is your best pass protector, and that's kind of what we've been hearing, it would not surprise me at all to see him get a jersey on Sunday. What about you?
Well, Etienne's no slouch now in pass protection. LaQuint Allen Jr. that just does it with a little bit more robustness. He goes after guys and is not just trying to get the block; he's trying to knock the block off, so to speak. So a little bit more excitement there when you watch the film of LaQuint Allen Jr. in pass protection. But look, Travis Etienne Jr. is a very good back in protection as well.
Hey, let me ask you your opinion, if you have one that's formed about this, because granted, it's the offseason. They haven't played real games that count. Will this offensive line be a better pass blocking or run blocking unit, and why, in your opinion?
I think they will, just because the only thing that I have to go on, Mike, is the preseason. And when they played in the preseason, I thought that group was really good. When I say really good in pass protection. Now, we got to understand that there's a lot of guys that weren't playing on the other side of the ball in those situations. But I thought that the spacing, the way that they played together, the amount of snaps that they played together in practice and in training camp, I think has been very beneficial. The finish of the offensive line, if you compare just what, sample size that we have right now, you compare it to last year, it's not even close. And I'm talking not even close. It's dramatic to me, the way that this offensive line finishes compared to the offensive line of last year. And we're not talking about that vastly different of a group. A lot of the personnel is the same, but it just goes to show you that coaching matters. Okay, but I'm asking you, what's going to be the greater strength? Will it be pass blocking? Will it be run blocking? I think they're both are going to be pretty good. And was one going to be better than the other? I would probably say the run blocking, because I think run blocking a lot of time is attitude and commitment and how talented your backs are. And I think that the attitude and the commitment is there. I think the talent in your running back room is absolutely there. And pass protection is a little different. Look, you're getting ready to face some really good pass rushers coming up. Not that Carolina has a load of great pass rushers, but I think eventually you're going to see some real talent at that position. And we'll see how they end up doing, but I think the running game will be a little bit better than the pass protection to begin with.
Logs, we know offensive line and improving that group was among the biggest issues, the priorities they had going into the offseason. They've done what they've done in that area. As we go into the regular season now, what in your mind is the biggest area of concern for the football team heading into the regular season?
As a whole team?
Yes.
Oof. Yeah, I mean, I think, Tony, look, I'm going to go back to last year, and this defense was terrible. I mean, terrible. And we're all quick to say, oh, it's the coaching. The coaching was terrible, the worst coaching job in Jaguars history. And I was in that belief as well. But, look, until they show in a regular season game that they've overcome what they were last year, that's going to be an area of concern for me. Last year, this defense had a lot of mental errors. It allowed the most explosive plays in the National Football League. It had one of the fewest takeaways by a team in the National Football League. To me, it's the defense. And, to go to the first preseason game, there was an issue against the Pittsburgh Steelers about getting, quote-unquote, cleats in the ground. And, getting lined up and communicating and all of that, where they kind of actually went back to Pop Warner League coaching, I guess. The coaches talked about that, to where they started to, going through the mechanics of getting the call in faster, getting lined up faster, communicating with each other faster, and it seemed like that they got that fixed in preseason game 2 and then also in Miami. But the reality is, until you see it in a regular season game and when it counts, the last thing that we have to go on from a regular season game is what we saw last year. So for me, Tony, it's the defense.
Well, we've got plenty of time to stretch out with Jeff Lageman, get into some particulars, including Travis Hunter's role on that defense, as well as the offense. What are our expectations for week 1? We'll discuss that with Logs coming up. If you want to get in, 641-1010 on the Checkmate Coatings phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, where we have a lot of questions pouring in for you, Jeff, and we'll run through some of those coming up next. I should have mentioned as well, Tony, tonight's draft, our South American producer, Cristiano, is also featured prominently in there in the draft, and he has done quite well for himself over the years in our Jaguars Today fantasy leagues. He is listening and probably did not like the slight of his exclusion from that list of luminaries that we have drafting with us today.
Getting ready to host the NFL in a couple days.
That's right. Brazil, they're coming your way, Cristiano. And if the Jags ever play down there, I expect a couch available for your boy. All right. We'll come back more with Jeff Lageman on a Check the Tape Tuesday. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Door Studios. Superior products, exceptional service.
Join Jim Furyk and other legends of the PGA Tour for the Constellation Furyk and Friends, presented by Circle K. October 3rd through 5th at Timuquana Country Club. Catch the new community concert series on the 17th hole after play, featuring country artists Low Cash and Love and Theft. Public parking is free with complimentary tournament access for military, courtesy of ViStar Credit Union. Get tickets now for the Constellation Furyk and Friends, presented by Circle K, starting at just $25 at Ticketmaster.
It's the start of our favorite season in Jacksonville, football season. Let's get hyped and let's get the home in tip-top shape and let's get that house zero-resified. Carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, they'll take care of you. Call the folks at Zero Res right now, 287-5727. Ask for the 1010XL special. Get your 3 rooms of carpet clean at $139 plus a 4th room free. Zero Res. Spell it forwards or backwards. It spells the same. Zero Res.
Zero Res. Jaguars Today Tuesday.
Inspected by Shillington Creek Pest Control.
I'm Frank Franzi, and I just got back from the farm at Okefenokee. Man, it's incredible. Just an hour north of Jacksonville and Folkestone. I was so impressed. It's about connecting with nature, with food, with community. And now you can own your very own handcrafted cabin tucked into a 1,000-acre regenerative farm. Everything you need is there. You'll hardly need to go grocery shopping. Learn more about all of it at okefarm.com. That's OKEfarm.com, the farm at Okefenokee.
Ticket here for Action Garage Door. Nothing more frustrating than your garage door misfiring. When it does, I call Action Garage Door. They take action. Jeff and Art and crew, Jacksonville folks, not some big out-of-town chain. Something goes wrong with your garage door, take action. Check them out. Garage Door 911, garagedoor911.com.
Introducing the Jags Stack at Firehouse Subs. A sub so bold, we had to name it after the team that roars. Packed with protein and made to satisfy a football-sized appetite. It's stacked with honey ham, smoked turkey, and roast beef. Topped with provolone fresh veggies and our new Duval drizzle. Order the new Jags Stack in the app right now. Available for limited time at participating Jacksonville Firehouse Subs restaurants. The hottest subs in
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, Jason, thanks for coming over so quick.
Sure thing, pal. What's the big...
Whoa! See, I told you there was a smell.
Yeah, it smells like...
Exactly, or a dead one more like it.
You need some fresh air in here.
Well, this is the problem, Jason. I've kept everything sealed up tight all summer long so I don't lose all my nice cool air. Now all the dog smells and cooking smells and home gymnasium, man cave smells are all building up and I can barely...
Dude, where are the Bueller sunglasses I gave you?
Oh, I don't know. They must be in my other...
Put on my emergency pair.
Whoa.
Bueller Air and Plumbing can install an air purification add-on to your existing air conditioner. Clean the air of dust and pollen and funky smells while you cool.
So I can keep all the cool air I saved up?
And your place won't smell like a dead...
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to our website, CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com. And let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
David here with Royal Pest Services. It's back. Our summer Centricon Termite Special. New installs begin as low as $249. And if you have existing Centricon, but your renewal is through the roof, we can transfer you to Royal at no cost. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free estimate.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Jeff Lageman Tuesday is serviced by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
Yeah, we're still working through it right now. You obviously missed a lot of time there that, can impact playing anybody. Nonetheless, a rookie that misses quite a bit of time. So what that usage looks like, we're still working through.
All right, that's Liam Cohen yesterday discussing the week 1 usage of Travis Hunter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. What'll it look like? None of us really know. We have our guesses. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark, and Jeff Lageman joining us today on the telephone lines instead of in studio. But nonetheless, we got you covered for the Jags and the Carolina Panthers. Logs, what is your guess? What do you think, all things considered, factoring in what Liam Cohen had to say yesterday, what do you think the Travis Hunter week 1 experience will look like?
I think that's going to be a really interesting thing and arguably the most interesting watch, I think, in that entire game is what kind of a role will Travis Hunter have on both sides of the ball. The whole wild card in this equation is that, we haven't seen him at practice a lot over the last 10 to 14 days because he's been banged up a little bit. And, there's got to be a comfort level when you put them out there on offense and defense, and you don't want to have I think early in the season you can have more limitations than the further along that you get because more teams will have more information the further you get into the season. With Travis Hunter at the beginning, they're going to have no idea of kind of the role that he's going to have and some of the plays that he's going to be involved in. And can he flip and play multiple positions in that 3 wide receiver set to keep people guessing on defense? Can he play base and also nickel and also dime? I think that – but here's the reality, Mike and Tony. I don't think the opposing coaches are worried about it right now because why would you want to worry about something that you don't have any control over? You're going to prepare for what you saw and when he did play, which is, as a corner when they went to nickel and then as a 3rd wide receiver. And until you have something on film that says, oh, my God, we've got to prepare for this, I think you're slow to react to it. And you're just going to prepare for the offense that you're going to face because there's enough unknowns in that in week one. You're going to prepare for the defense because, again, there's a lot of unknowns in that as well. So I think the opposing teams won't be as concerned about it. They'll be more concerned about the scheme. But I think as fans, we're dying to know what role he's going to have and what impact he's going to have.
Jeff, I think honestly, of all the rookie debuts we've seen in the history of the franchise, perhaps that Trevor Lawrence is probably a little bit higher because of everything that went into it, the anticipation of the Jags winning that sweepstakes. It felt like the year before. He was the number 1 overall pick. You know, all the conversations about Trevor that everyone had had for 3 years. So maybe Trevor Lawrence, but that's a quarterback, so you can understand it a little bit. I don't think I have been this excited about seeing a rookie debut outside of maybe Trevor Lawrence. And I don't know exactly how they're going to choose to use Travis Hunter this week. If it was up to me, I'd play him every snap that I could play him because I'm just pumped to see him play football. I just want to watch it and see what's going to happen with it. But I can't remember a non-quarterback, certainly, that I've been this excited about seeing make their debut in a Jaguars uniform.
I'm kind of close to you, Tony. For me, the biggest and most excitement I've ever had is Trevor Lawrence. I mean, when you've got a first overall pick and everybody was saying that he's a hands-down generational talent and the way that quarterbacks can change the direction of a franchise, for me, it's Trevor. But I don't think there's any doubt the biggest star that's ever walked through the stadium of Everbank Field has been Travis Hunter. I mean, you're talking about a player that's done some things that no player has really ever done in the modern era of football, playing two ways. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. The Jaguars have never had that. His star is big on a national scale. I mean, when I do interviews with other radio stations or when I talk with people in other markets or family members, I mean, the first question out of their mouth is Travis Hunter. You know, my nephews, two biggest questions that I've had all year from them about the Jaguars is about Travis Hunter. And so it's going to be on everybody's minds. Everybody's going to be locked in and tuned in to what number 12 is doing. The great thing is that this game on Sunday, he's not going to have two jerseys. He's going to have to just wear one jersey, and he won't have to change jersey colors in practice anymore. I mean, it's a game, and you're going to be wearing one color. So it is going to be a popcorn-ready situation when it comes to 12.
Yeah, we did have Desmond Howard back in the day, Lux, but I understand your point. Like, we never drafted the Heisman winner, right? And brought him in, and we don't know what and such a unique player. You know, I guess this could have been somewhat like Charles Woodson back in the late 90s, but really we look back and Woodson was like just barely featured on offense. I mean, Travis Hunter is this full-time two-way guy, and I'm sure this is not the only person who's wondering this. Logs, JagFan15 on Twitter. Do you think we'll get Hunter versus Tetero McMillan head-to-head at least a few times in this game?
Good. I mean, the one thing I think that's easy to coach from a defensive standpoint, you're not worrying about scheme, is man coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And, matching up with a guy that's got the size and the range and I think the stature of Tet McMillan, I think that would be a great matchup. Would I be surprised if I saw that? Absolutely not. And I hope they do it, just from a fan enjoyment standpoint.
Right.
The one thing we haven't seen, in practice, we haven't seen schematically a lot of craziness when it comes to Travis Hunter. But, a lot of those things as a coaching staff, you're going to keep that stuff close to the vest and not going to want to reveal anything like that. The one thing that the Jaguars coaching staff has is a little bit of an element of surprise. The reality is that Anthony Campanile has never been a defensive coordinator. How is he going to call plays? How is he going to take on different threats of offense? I mean, there's really no book on them. Teams can go back and look at what it was like with Green Bay when he spent some time there. They're going to go back and see what the Miami Dolphins did when he was there. But there's really no book on them, because they were so vanilla and basic in training camp in the preseason games. And, the offense has a little bit of that advantage as well.
Jeff, you mentioned a few minutes ago that your area of concern, you just said defense, right? And it's really coming off the way that they performed last year. So we don't know what the answers are to how improved they are in any of the areas where they needed to improve, but we're talking about Travis Hunter a lot in this segment. How improved do you think the Jaguars secondary is compared to where it was last year? How much better do you feel about that group?
Well, I think it's better, but, I want to have proof. I feel really good about the camp that Tyson Campbell had, even though he had a little bit of an injury that kept him out a little bit. I thought that Jarian Jones took some steps forward. The addition of Jordan Lewis, I thought, was huge, not only from a performance standpoint, but I think a leadership standpoint. As you guys know, he was elected a team captain from players' vote, and that's incredibly hard to accomplish for a player that's coming in from the outside into a new locker room to establish himself in that fashion that quickly and to have the respect given to him. I think it's a great credit to him. Also, his level of play, because players, they're not voting for a guy that's a junk player. They know that the player has to be good and he has to have something special, I think, to be able to come in and accomplish that. So I think they're going to be better. I think Monteric Brown, once he gets completely healthy, I think is going to help them as well. Travis Hunter, I think there's no doubt when it comes to man coverage and his ball skills and the type of player that he is, I think is going to help. So, yes, I think they're going to be better. I think in the back end, too, that they'll be smarter. I think they'll be more communicative, just because last year you had the safeties. I mean, there's a lot of guys kind of in and out of that. And Andrew Wingard was the one, I thought, steady and force that they had last year. And they just really couldn't play him because of the injury, and he wasn't 100%. And now that he's back and he's kind of seemed to have earned that job, I think he'll be a steady force in the back end. And really overall with that whole defensive backfield, just because his leadership, his attention to detail. And look, the reality is when he plays, Wingard's a good football player.
All right, Log, so we'll get more into the defense when we return in the moment. Take a quick time out. If you want to get your questions in, you know the ways to do it on a Check the Tape Tuesday, heading into the season opener with Jeff Lageman. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Follow the Florida Gators on 1010XL.
Gators!
The Gators hook horns with the South Florida Bulls. Kickoff at 4 on Jacksonville's home of Florida Gators football. 1010XL.
Football season is back, baby. Hicken here, and I know I'm excited to get back to watching some ball over the weekend. But with the fun comes responsibility. Taking care of your skin while outside, extremely important. We know it feels like 100 out there, and that sun is blazing. Make sure you bring the screen while loading up all that tailgate. It's simple. Protect your skin. It's the Sunshine State. To help you protect your skin, Beaches Dermatology is here. I've been going to them for years, and my skin thanks me for it. Book your appointment today at beachesdermatology.com.
Jaguars Today Tuesday, kept pest-free by Julington Creek Pest Control.
Jags fans, a new Everbank Performance account could be your ticket to London this October. The Everbank London Getaway Experience. One lucky winner and a guest get round-trip airfare, hotel accommodations, and tickets to see the Jags play in London. Everbank.com/London for official rules. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Everbank London Getaway sweeps entry period 7/28/25 to 9/5/25. Enter and get official rules and details at everbank.com/London.
If you missed it, get it on demand.
And you send those out on the line.
Find your 1010XL favorites where you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com. Channel 5. Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. What's better than beer? Cold beer. Put your company logo on a custom koozie. Check them out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Hey, Niall Lawrence Stample, national champion and owner of NLS Cleaning here, where we offer pressure washing, gutter cleaning, and paver sealing, plus window cleaning. Football season is back. Get 20% off your first service when you mention this ad through September 30th. Call 708-8802.
I'm Frank Frangie, and I've been telling you about my daughter's journey with Awaken 180 as she tries to lose a little weight. In fact, last week you heard from Amber herself. Well, let me give you an update. She's been in it just a little over 2 months, Amber has lost 51 pounds. That's a real number. I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it happen. She has lost 51 pounds. And here's why. Awaken 180 is not a diet. It's a lifestyle change that is sustainable. And she has figured that out. She loves the journey. She loves the new recipes. She loves that she fits into her old clothes and she sleeps better and has more energy. And it is really, really working. She's proud, and man, am I proud of her. If you want to start your transformation, you can do the same thing. Call 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com. My daughter's lost 50 pounds, and she's so excited about it. You can as well. 844-346-1800 or awaken180weightloss.com.
Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the final days of Sleep Number's biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale. Up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Ends Monday. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Jeff Lageman Tuesday
is brought to you by
Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, coming down to the home stretch of hour number 1, Jaguars Today, rolling 10 to noon. We've got the full lineup ready and locked in. Johnny O tomorrow, Mike DeRocco Thursday, Tom McManus Friday, DG hopefully celebrating a victory Monday with us a week from yesterday. We've got Jeff Lageman today on a Check the Tape Tuesday. Hey, Logs, Devin Lloyd, Ventrell Miller, how do you anticipate that position or that battle playing itself out on the field on Sunday?
I wouldn't be surprised if they both play, because I think that battle kind of still continues on. So I think this is going to be a decision or a battle that's going to go into the regular season. And will that battle continue on? So in other words, will they continue to deploy 2 guys at that one position? I think at some point you kind of want to settle in with one guy and one guy only. But yeah, I think to begin with, I think we're going to see both guys.
Is it situational at all early on with those guys? Like they want to play one guy or the other in more the running situation or the passing situation? Or is it just we want to get a look at both of them and see which one we're more comfortable with in the defense?
I'm guessing here, but I think it's not situational, Tony. And because, if you look at both guys, I think they both bring something to the table. I mean, if you look at Devin Lloyd, he's athletic. He's got he's doing a better job this year of attacking blockers and using his hands to get rid of them. But the reality is that when you look at Ventrell, he's a downhill player. When he hits people, God almighty, he thumps them. In space, I think they both move probably equally well. I think Ventrell is a little bit more aware of where he is at times, but then Devin Lloyd sometimes is more athletic, so it's a tough call to make. And I think the coaches like both guys, and there's probably a split maybe in the coaching staff. One guy might like Ventrell and another guy may like Devin Lloyd. And until one kind of says I'm the guy, I think it's going to continue to go along those lines.
Now, of course, Campanile is the linebackers coach, and he is the one who has the final say on all this, Logs. Do you think we'll see him utilize Devin Lloyd as, Jaguar fans have wish-casted this for years. Let's use Devin Lloyd as our third edge rusher. I'm not saying he'd be the third guy, but do you think that Campanile's defense will employ him and others aggressively in blitz packages this year?
Well, I think he can blitz because I think he's very athletic, and that's something that I think that he does well, because that's what he was doing at Utah was straight ahead. He did a little bit of everything. He was kind of one of those guys that was see ball, go get ball. And Dennis Gardeck, though, is the guy that I see kind of more as that extra rusher. He's proven that's something that he did more of as an edge rusher. We also saw the Jaguars get him some reps in the game situation in that kind of role, especially in the last preseason game in Miami. So could they end up using Devin Lloyd in that role? They could, but I just really believe that Dennis Gardeck and Yasir Abdullah, I think, do a little bit better job from that standpoint. And if they're going to pick somebody to do it, I think it would be one of those two Sam linebackers.
We've talked a little bit about the offensive line and where we think they may have improved early on. That was one of the big questions going into the offseason. There were a lot of conversations had about the bet they made on the interior of their defensive line. Well, they brought in some new bodies in that area as well. Eric Armstead, they're moving back inside. Mason Smith now going into year 2 for him. How do you feel about the interior of the line, and are they going to be good enough to allow Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker to reach towards what potential we think we see in those two guys?
Yeah, I think that Armstead, watching him, and obviously we have a small sample size so far, that he has been impactful when he's been on the field. And when Eric Armstead cranks it up, he's very difficult to block. Well, his length, his power, his experience, he's got kind of all the boxes checked in that department. He's been productive in the past. So I think a lot of it depends on him. Mason Smith, I think, is still working his way back from the injury in the lower body that he had. In this game coming up, could he be an inactive? He might be. Because the reality is, or do you end up using defensive tackle as that extra guy like we were talking about earlier because of Travis Hunter? But Mason Smith, I think, is still working his way back. He hasn't practiced much. Austin Johnson has been practicing. He's a veteran guy. Colin Saunders is a veteran guy. Devon Hamilton is a veteran guy. Are you going to go 5 guys deep there on game day? My opinion would be no. And the reason my opinion would be no is that you have the ability of having DeJuan Smoot kick down inside. You also have the ability of Trayvon Walker to kick down inside and reduce and give you snaps on the inside. So I think to start the season, I think Mason Smith may kind of be working his way back, and until, he kind of shows enough in practice and the conditioning level gets to where it needs to be, then I think it might be other guys. But I don't know. I mean, maybe they end up having all of those guys in the rotation. But, I mean, if you're limited, if it were me, I would choose to allow him more time to get back to form.
Why would he be limited, though? Like, he returned to practice before Eric Armstead did, and he was going full speed, and they played him in the third preseason game to get him some reps. I mean, why would he be further behind than Eric Armstead?
Armstead was working out on the side kind of all along through the injury, right? And Mason Smith was not. Mason Smith, they had him very limited on what activity he was doing, at least from what I could see, what our eyes were allowed to see. Whereas, and look, the reality is you got a young player who's a big body, 315 pounds or 310 pounds, whatever he is. He's basically only had a week to get ready so far prior to the regular season. Is that enough? And you're talking about coming back from an injury that kept him out almost the entirety of training camp, whereas Eric Armstead was off working to the side most of training camp and then came back last week and then didn't show any signs of being limited. And then watching Mason Smith in that last preseason game against the Miami Dolphins You could tell that his stamina wasn't quite there yet, and you're dealing with a young player. I think the best thing in the world to have is a young player that is hungry to play and hungry to show more. So, I mean, maybe he does play, like I said. But if there is a decision to where you can only go with 4, I would not be surprised to see Austin Johnson active over Mason Smith.
All right. Well, let's get into more of these kind of position battles. Who's going to be up, and what about the matchups versus the Carolina Panthers as we move into hour number 2? Your thoughts welcome. We've been passing along a lot of your questions for Jeff Lageman. We'll continue to do that on a Check the Tape Tuesday. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Get hit by the man in the back, Tommy Mack.
I'm bringing you straight to the gridiron to show you what it's like to put on the Jags helmet and pads.
Fridays on Jaguars Today. Unlocked by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Want a fresh and flavorful tailgate this season? Chicken Salad Chick has scratch-made Southern-style chicken salad perfect for lunch, parties, and your tailgate. Order 3 ways at one of 4 area locations. Call 1-833-MY-CHICK or online at chickcatering.com.
Jacksonville, Hickens calling it. Checkmate Coating, my MVP. Tough, slick floors that dominate any space.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On September 2nd, 1978, the Yankees right fielder Reggie Jackson hits his 20th home run of the season, the 19th major league player to hit 20 home runs in 11 straight seasons.
AC's broke, it ain't no joke. Call Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. FloridaHomeAC.com.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
The Golf Club of Southampton has big plans for 2026, renewing the greens plus plenty more. But right now is the time to take advantage of member opportunities before the big renovation. Now until the end of September, you can join and save 50% off their initiation fee plus $500 back in a gift card with a 12-month commitment. All the details are at golfsouthampton.com. Playability for every skill level and a huge practice area to hone your game. Lock in now and enjoy membership privileges at the Golf Club of Southampton.
If you want to sell your home, or you're worried about selling your home, or you've had trouble selling your home, let me give you the hotline to the help you need. That's the hotline to Chad and Sandy. 904-414-6200, chadandsandy.com. Area homes are selling, but you got to get the right price, and you need the right marketing, the proven systems. Chad and Sandy hit every base for you. Need to sell now? Instant offers coming. Fast, easy, stress-free. You want max price? Chad and Sandy bring your home to market with unmatched exposure, whether you're buying or selling. Fast or max cash, Chad and Sandy have the proven plan guaranteed. And how about this promise? Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. No required costly repairs. They are the real estate experts you can trust. So call them today at 904-414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, A-N-D, Sandy.com.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success. Join the fun with the Frangie Show live this Thursday from 2 to 4 at the newly reopened Firehouse Subs on University. Appearances from a Jags player, The Roar, Jackson DeVille, and the D-Line. Thursday from 2 to 4 at Firehouse Subs on University.
Hey, this is Lauren Brooks. With over 1,600 five-star Google reviews, it was a no-brainer to have Closets by Design help us get organized at home. They create custom storage solutions for every space, lifestyle, and budget. From closets to garages to laundry rooms and more. Closets by Design will transform clutter into seamless organization. Call today to schedule a free in-home consultation and get 40% off plus an extra 15% off with free installation. But only until September 30th. 18 months financing is available. Call 904-878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about letting things roll off of your back. So often we can make big deals out of things that are not really big deals. We can allow them to steal the joy of our day. But let me remind you that don't allow anyone or anything to steal the joy of today. Go out today not letting little things steal the big things that God has in store for you.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
This is your local sports update. I'm RJ Saunders for 1010XL. The following players have been named the Jaguars captains for the 2025 season. Trevor Lawrence, Josh Hines-Allen, Foye Oluokun, Logan Cook, Jordan Lewis, and Robert Hainsey. Cohen said the captains were decided by player vote late last week. Right now, 80 degrees at 11:01. Time in 10 brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Jeff Lageman Tuesday is serviced by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, check the tape Tuesday. A little bit different version. No game film to look back on. Kind of looking ahead to the matchups with the Carolina Panthers this week. And then hopefully we'll be celebrating a Victory Tuesday next week with Jeff Lageman. Logs got this one on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures this morning. Is it a huge bonus to have such a great offensive mind as the head coach in Liam Cohen for Anthony Campanile to pick his brain and get his opinion on how to handle certain situations? Putting the specifics of the guys aside, how much does that happen? You know, when you've got a really sharp pair of coordinators, do they collaborate? Do they bounce ideas off of each other? Is this your area? This is my area, and never the twain shall meet?
No, I mean, as the head coach, I mean, you got to be able to contribute and to offer a hand to the defensive side of the ball. And look, I'm sure that Liam does a little bit of that. You know, he's a first-year head coach. So the thing that has impressed me so far is his willingness to spend more time with other facets of the game other than the offense. And, you know, I'm a people watcher in practice. And so you always kind of watch to see the interactions. And it's been impressive to me to see the coach, the head coach, not ultra focused on his baby, which is the offense, and to see him give attention and love to the defensive side of the ball and to special teams. So I'm encouraged by that, and I think that, yes, the head coach can help out a first-time defensive coordinator. You know, and I think also with Liam Cohen, you know, he's got a great support staff. When I say support staff, a support system around him with the general manager, with Tony Baselli, and also his dad, who is his mentor, and then also other trusted people that he has in place. And so to me, I'm excited about that aspect. I'm excited about Liam Cohen being a first-time head coach, because a lot of first-time head coaches get so ultra-wired into their side of the ball that they ignore the rest of the football team. And that's usually one of the biggest things that they say, the biggest adjustment that they have from year one to year two, is that they've got to learn to pay attention to other aspects of the team. And Liam Cohen seems to be doing it naturally in his first year.
Liam Cohen may be the answer to this question for you, Jeff. But when you look at what the Jags have done through training camp and the preseason, are there two or three guys maybe that have stood out for you as you've watched them go through the process, whether it be on the practice field or on the field during these preseason games as we get ready for the regular season to begin?
As far as coaching goes, Tony?
It can be coaches, players, whoever stood out for you.
I think one of the players that I'll go to has been Robert Hainsey, a guy that I think that, you know, when you come in and again, kind of similar to Jordan Lewis, you know, you're coming into a new locker room, you're trying to find your way. His personality is just, it pulls people in. I mean, have you guys ever had the chance to talk with Hainsey at any great length? He's an absolute joy to talk to, and you can tell why his teammates really like him and why they voted him as one of the captains. And so I think he's one of those guys that has really impressed me with his energy and with the way that I think that he's rallied that offensive line. You know, earlier I was talking about the way they finish and the way that they've gotten better in both aspects as far as the running game and the passing game. And I think Hainsey's been a big part of that, not because he's this great player. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a great player, but his personality, I think, just helps everybody around him, and that's been a real positive. And yeah, I'm going to go right to the head coach, Liam Cohen, Tony, because of some of the things that I said, the maturity that he's showing as a first-time head coach has been impressive to me. Been fortunate to be able to have a couple first-time head coaches that I've seen so far. Jack Del Rio was really the big one, and watching him grow. But I think Liam Cohen is just very mature for where he's at. And I'm saying all of these things, but the reality is, he's got to get punched in the mouth a few times and have some setbacks, But the one thing that I also love about him, you guys hear him always talking about adversity and how we respond, and you can tell that he talks to the team a lot about that. So I think that when they do face adversity and when it does come, because I think he talks about it and he mentally prepares them for that, I think they're going to be ready to handle it, But again, this is kind of goes into that unproven category. We won't know until we know, but I'm excited to see it.
Well, on the front of captains, so Liam Cohen spoke about this yesterday. Hainsey included in that group, and he explained, Liam did, that picking the captains was up to the players.
Yeah, we did a team vote before we left for the mini break there, and all of it, nice thing is you didn't have to fudge it to get kind of what you wanted. It was pretty clear based on the votes and the ballots that these were the 6 guys that got the most. There was a ton of guys that, you could have bumped up potentially. You just don't have enough spots. You only have 6 of them, but it was cool to acknowledge the amount of people that did receive votes throughout the team. That was nice to see, especially some of the guys that may not have ever been voted for in the past that did receive some votes, and kind of shows that those guys are making an impact. So it wasn't hard to get to the 6 guys.
So you had Trevor Lawrence, Josh Hines-Allen, Foye, Logan Cook, Jordan Lewis, and we're talking about Hainsey here, Lug. So for Jordan Lewis and Robert Hainsey, do you feel like that just speaks well to the type of player that this brain trust, this front office coaching staff wanted to bring in and make an impact on this team for 2 of those newcomers to get that honor?
Well, we heard the term intangibly rich a lot, in the offseason, right. And I think that's a perfect example of having guys that are intangibly rich, when they get the respect of their peers, because I think that's the true measure. You can sit there and have a coach, force it upon players and say, oh, he's my captain. He's going to be my guy because he speaks my language and he's my guy. Well, when the players are picking your guy and of their own free will, I think that's a real strong sign that the culture you're trying to bring in is having an impact.
All right, well, let's do this. When we come back, let's take a look at some of the Jaguars' offensive guys, particularly the pass catchers, and how they match up and what Carolina brings to the table defensively. They certainly paid J.C. Horn a lot of money. He's had a hard time staying on the field throughout his NFL career, but is probably the best guy that they have as a cover man in that secondary. So we'll see if Jeff thinks the Jags match up favorably with Brian Thomas Jr. and company against Carolina. We'll get to that straight ahead. More of your questions pouring in, and we'll pass those along to Jeff Lageman as well on a Check the Tape Tuesday, the first one of game week number 1 here, with the Carolina Panthers coming into town in just 5 days to take on your Jacksonville Jaguars. And you'll hear it all right here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. A great drive takes more than a set of wheels.
Fully loaded, I think is the term.
Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville brings you the drive of the game.
Just one thing. Yeah. Don't push any of the buttons on that car.
On 1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet, Together, let's drive.
It's a Jaguars Today Tuesday, sparked by Julington Creek Pest Control.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
XL Prime Time is back where they belong.
Wait a minute, I know where that is.
Lunch is on Josie, Matt Hayes, and Leon.
You could lay a little barbecue on us.
From the big #1 Duval Ford Studios.
But somebody else is going to have to cook it.
Noon to 2 weekdays on 1010XL.
Jacksonville is football season, and Duck Duck Rooter is proud to be on your home team. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, we tackle plumbing, septic, and air conditioning problems with championship-level service. Keep an eye out for our custom Jaguar wrap plumbing vans rolling around town. They're hard to miss and always ready for the next play at your home or business. With thousands of 5-star Google reviews and the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida, trust Duck Duck Rooter to keep you in the game. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter, when you're stuck, call the Duck.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, superiorfenceandrail.com.
When storms start to crop up in the Atlantic or Gulf this time of year, having a solid plan to handle anything that sweeps through the first coast is very important. That's where American Electrical comes in. Ensure your home's safety and comfort with an American Electrical home generator. As the area's leading home generator dealer and installer, American Electrical can offer you easy installation, simple maintenance, and peace of mind. Schedule an assessment by simply calling the team at American Electrical. They'll walk you through the best generator for your home or business. Log on, american-electrical.com.
After an accident, you may have an x-ray that looks normal, but you're still in pain. That's because soft tissue injuries like sprains and tears don't show up on x-rays. And if an insurance company doesn't see it, they may not believe you're hurt.
When they don't take your pain seriously, we fight back. We know doctors who are experts in diagnosing soft tissue injuries. They can help us prove that your pain is real, and we'll seek to get you paid for all of your future medical expenses.
Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, let's talk about diamond cutting. How is the diamond price affected by the way it is cut?
Frank, that's probably the most important question asked about diamonds, because the trade-off between a diamond cut for maximum beauty and one that's not is the diamond's carat weight. You see, diamond cutters buy rough diamonds based on quality and weight. So as they cut the rough diamond, everything cut away affects profits. However, there's specific known cutting parameters, and each deviation from these means they have a heavier, less beautiful diamond. Unfortunately, a customer can't detect all those cutting imperfections. They need expert help about a diamond's cut grade. You see, for any round diamond of a particular color, clarity, and carat weight, there are as many as 10 different prices that can vary by as much as 50%. At Underwoods, we look specifically at how a diamond's cut before we look at anything else, because it's the most important factor when it comes to a diamond's beauty, and to us, whether it should carry the Underwood name or not.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Jeff Lageman Tuesday is serviced by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, Jeff Lageman here with us on a Check the Tape Tuesday. Got a lot to get to here in the final 3 segments of radio broadcast as the Jags and the Carolina Panthers will go head-to-head on Sunday. The waiting is just about over. Dylan, why don't you be so kind and fire up today's 10-10 take?
10-10
take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take is serviced by Ideal Conditions Heating and Air, your go-to local HVAC company, veteran owned and operated.
You know, Jeff mentioned early, Tony, just about in terms of playmakers, and you're talking about fantasy, where do the Carolina Panthers and Jacksonville Jaguars go? Let's not forget in all the hype and hubbub around Travis Hunter, and well-deserved based on his collegiate accomplishments, right? The attention, we understand that. new offense for Trevor Lawrence. Got a new defensive coordinator. You got a new GM who's aggressive, making trades, bringing in guys who may impact this team as late as August. Let's not forget who the guy I think is the best player on this team. I think a lot of people would agree is Brian Thomas Jr. And Liam Cohen-Logs said when he got here, they're going to run the offense through Brian Thomas Jr. Now, this is pre-draft and all that, but I don't think that has changed all that much. Are we going to get reminded on Sunday, Jeff, just how good and how important Brian Thomas Jr. is to this whole equation?
Well, I hope so, because the one thing about Brian is that he's got a different gear, when it comes to game day. When I say game day, I'm talking about regular season game day. And I think that Liam Cohen and the coaching staff never really have seen that transformation yet. We didn't even know that it existed going back to last year. You go down to Miami and getting ready to face Jalen Ramsey, and all of a sudden we were like, oh my gosh, who's this guy? Brian Thomas Jr., he's getting in the face of Jalen Ramsey and running by him. So I think it's going to be exciting to watch Brian in this offense, because one of the great ways to get deep balls and to take advantage of a great deep threat, which I believe Brian is play action. And when you run the ball and you run the ball successfully, it's going to open up a lot of avenues for Brian Thomas Jr. down the field. And also the presence, I believe, of Travis Hunter and De'Ami Brown are going to be really kind of a boost for Brian Thomas Jr. Now, his numbers may not be what they were last year, but I believe the impact is going to be greater just because of, because last year they were basically force feeding him. He was the offense. Everybody was hurt, and they were giving him the ball, force feeding it to him. So this year I believe the impact is going to be greater, but the numbers may not be as high.
Look, Jeff, the Jags' pass defense was the worst in the league last year when you're talking about yardage allowed. But Carolina actually allowed the most passing touchdowns by a pretty significant margin. Like, they gave up 35. The Jags gave up 29. 29's high, but 35 was the highest in the National Football League. So if you're doing a kind of a tail of the tape, and I understand things can change from one year to the next, and we hope the Jags' pass defense is much improved. But is this a check mark, Jags wide receivers versus the Carolina Panthers secondary?
Well, I mean, it could be. At the end of the day, if you get the W, I don't care, what the matchup that you're going to focus in on is going to be. I think that's the most important thing. The Carolina Panthers back end, J.C. Horn's a good player. Mike Jackson is a decent player. And then Smith Wade is a very young player who is their starting nickel, and they've got some veteran safeties. Can they handle it? Do they have a pass rush that can affect Trevor Lawrence? I don't think the pass rush should have a huge impact. I think the Jaguars should be able to handle the pass rush of the Carolina Panthers. Now there's one game wrecker in there, and Derek Brown, a big stud up in the middle that they're going to have to worry about. But I think that there will be opportunities deep, with the Jaguars receiving core. But again, the more you can establish the running game, the bigger the plays that can be down the field.
Brian Thomas Jr., Trevor Lawrence, Josh Hines-Allen, and Trayvon Walker are largely considered the four best players on the team going into the season. In your mind, Jeff, who is the next four? Beyond those four guys, who would be the next four in your mind?
Hold on, give me the four you're talking about.
Brian Thomas Jr., Trevor Lawrence, yep. Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker.
To me, Travis Hunter's got to be in that equation just because the impact that he's going to have on both sides of the ball. Tyson Campbell, because I believe he can be a really good corner and have an impact in a big way. The running backs, give me two of them. I'm going to have Bashal Tootin, and I'm going to take Tank Bigsby just because. And then I'm also going to take Brenton Strange. Is that my five, or did I go over?
You got it. That's five.
Yeah, I think those five guys are going to have a huge impact. And a lot of people may end up saying, well, what about ETN? I love Bashal Tootin. Can you tell? It's the guy's got everything for me, and it may take a little bit of time to gain the trust to put him out there. But the way he runs, the way he catches, the way he makes people miss, the power that he runs with, and the speed that he has, I think he's going to be ultimately RB1, and it may take some time. And Travis may be able to hold him off, and Tank may be able to hold him off. But I think eventually, as long as he holds on to the ball, and that's, a big thing, I think that's going to be the guy. Brenton Strange, I'm excited about. Guys, you guys know I've been talking about him forever and love him. And the reason I love him is that it allows an offensive coordinator to truly keep a defense on their heels about whether you're going to run it or whether you're going to throw it. Evan Ingram, if you go back and you look and see how Evan Ingram was treated as a tight end, Evan Ingram was not treated as a tight end by opposing defensive coordinators. Evan Ingram was treated as a wide receiver. When you have a defense and a defensive coordinator that treats a tight end like a tight end, with Brenton Strange, you have a lot more open up to you from a play caller standpoint.
Logs, Tim Patrick gets traded for last week, right? I don't think they're giving up a draft pick like that if they're not going to make him active on game day. They like what he can do as a run blocker, and he can also be a big body, tough, third down possession type guy, maybe a potential red zone weapon. Just how do you expect his impact to be felt this year, or at least early on in the season?
I think that's a big unknown. I mean, we don't have any experience with him. We haven't seen him, so to speak, in a game. He's got size, and my first reaction when they made the trade was, well, he must play special teams. But the reality is that's not what he does. No. He's a wide receiver, and he's a big wide receiver. I mean, like size-wise, he's big. And got some range to him. I would not be surprised if they deploy him in the red zone. I mean, you love to have those big, tall, large objects to throw the ball to that have catch radius that seems to go on forever. But, the real question is will he be active on game day? You've got 4 wide receivers that you feel really good about, going all the way to Parker Washington. And so how they deploy them or use them, I think, is going to be interesting. It may be one of those things, too, kind of along the lines of Mason Smith. You may, wait a little bit to let him get a little bit more acclimated to the offense, not because he's, out of shape or anything, but because maybe he just needs more time to understand it because, the offense is pretty complex. You typically have a couple plays called in the huddle, and then you have shifts in motion and cadence, and all of those things must be kind of digested before one can go out there and perform like a true athlete. So it may take a little time.
De'Ami Brown was a hot name throughout most of the offseason. Parker Washington has been the hot guy lately in training camp and out in the preseason games. Who do you think will be the bigger weapon in the offense this year for the team?
Great question. And I would make the case that Parker Washington would be the guy that would have the bigger impact. But boy, I think as an offensive coordinator and as a wide receivers coach, I mean, what would you rather have? A guy who has been ultra productive, super consistent, and that's Parker Washington? Or would you rather have a guy who has been also super consistent but's got the ability to take the top off of a defense? And, oh, by the way, he would be one of 3 guys that can do that when you line up. I think having that threat of having 3 guys that can take the top off of a defense is really intriguing to me. And I think that the time will be the ultimate test and the truth teller for that question. But I like both of those guys, and it's a great problem to have as a coach when you can deploy different combinations of guys and they each have a great attribute that can help your offense be productive.
All right, let's hold those thoughts for a moment as there's a lot going on around the NFL, and Tony Smith is going to get us all caught up.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Carolina has placed wide receiver Jalen Coker on IR with what they're calling a significant quad strain. Panthers left tackle Ike Ekwonu remains day-to-day after an appendectomy last week, so his availability for Sunday up in the air. Now Green Bay pass rusher Micah Parsons dealing with a facet joint sprain, but he is expected to still give it a go for the Packers this weekend against Detroit, but he may need an epidural to make that happen. LA Rams head coach Sean McVay said on Monday that quarterback Matthew Stafford is expected to play week 1 there for the Rams. Miami running back Devon Achane returned to practice as he continues to work through a calf injury. Head coach Mike McDaniel said that Achane, wide receiver Tyreek Hill, and tight end Darren Waller are all expected to be able to play this week for the Dolphins. The LA Chargers running back Najee Harris has been cleared for contact, has a chance to play week 1 for them on Friday. And Pittsburgh and running back Jalen Warren have agreed to a 2-year extension that includes $12 million in guaranteed money. It will pay him $7 million this season.
All right, thank you, Tony. Logs, I don't know how much you followed the career of Jabril Peppers, who was just let go by the New England Patriots. Now, I understand if you have a vet, you might want to sign, if you're interested in signing a guy and you're not sure about him, you want to wait until after week 1 because then his salary's not guaranteed. If you cut him, he can't take termination pay. You can let him go without any obligation. But Jabril Peppers has pointed out he's played 9 years in the league, 7 head coaches, 6 defensive coordinators. He feels he can thrive in any kind of scheme. Is that a guy that you have an opinion on as to whether or not the Jags should be kicking the tires?
I don't think so. I mean, you kind of gotten that guy, the experienced guy, and Eric Murray and Savage and Wingard has a tremendous amount of experience there too. And then you also have some young players at that position as well. So no, I don't see that being a possibility with this team.
How big of a blow is it to Caleb Ransaw to not be able to play this year?
Well, I mean, it's difficult, but you know, the reality is that sometimes it's just not in the cards, you know, for a young player. And I'm still excited about the possibility of him growing into a safety. And at Tulane, he was more of a nickel and a corner. Mm-hmm. And I believe the transition won't be very difficult for a Caleb Ransaw because I think he's wired the right way. But I mean, it's disappointing just because, you know, it's like getting a Christmas present, you know, under the tree, and then all of a sudden you go there and you go to open it up and you're told that no, that's for next year. Not exactly the kind of Christmas present that you want or the draft pick, you know, to have that turn out that way. But the reality is you can't control injury, and it is what it is.
All right, let's take a time out here with Jeff Lageman. A couple more segments to go as we motor towards noon on this Check the Tape Tuesday. Jags opening up with the Carolina Panthers in a mere 5 days. Jeff Lageman's here with us. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Superior products, exceptional service. Post-game Monday is like digesting a huge day of football.
Let's do this.
Expert analysis of Sunday's game all day.
It's not great. It's fantastic.
Sink your teeth into Dandy Foods Post-game Monday.
So delicious.
On 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnick Chevrolet is proud to be a 7-time Chevrolet Dealer of the Year recipient, the only dealership in Northeast Florida to ever win this prestigious award, earned by treating customers with courtesy, respect, and fairness. All part of Nimnick's Treating You Right guarantee. Visit NimnickChevy.com to learn more. For 3 generations, Nimnick has been the place customers keep coming back to. They treat you right. Where do you go? The answer is simple. Nobody but Nimnick. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
It's Jaguars Today Tuesday.
Protected by Julington Creek Pest Control. Our family serving yours since 1984.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Julington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, Jason, thanks for coming over so quick.
Sure thing, pal. What's the big...
Whoa! See, I told you there was a smell.
Yeah, it smells like...
Exactly, or a dead one more like it.
You need some fresh air in here.
Well, this is the problem, Jason. I've kept everything sealed up tight all summer long so I don't lose all my nice cool air. Now all the dog smells and cooking smells and home gymnasium, man cave smells are all building up and I can barely...
Dude, where are the Bueller sunglasses I gave you?
Oh, I don't know. They must be in my other...
Put on my emergency pair. Whoa. Bueller Air and Plumbing can install an air purification add-on to your existing air conditioner. Clean the air of dust and pollen and funky smells while you cool.
So I can keep all the cool air I saved up?
And your place won't smell like a dead...
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Jaguars football is officially back. Be there as number 2 overall draft pick Travis Hunter, quarterback Trevor Lawrence, and new head coach Liam Cohen take the field for the first time during the 2025 NFL regular season. Secure your seats for when the Jaguars take on the Panthers September 7th by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you at the bank.
Florida Gators football on 1010XL is driven by Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville, Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors, and the law firm of Farah and Farah. Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Jeff Lageman Tuesday is serviced by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, coming down the stretch here, next couple of segments, we'll wrap things up on this Check the Tape Tuesday with Jeff Lageman. One thing we do know, Tony, Jags have outstanding specialists heading into this game. Be honestly fully transparent here. I don't know much about Ryan Fitzgerald, who is the place kicker for the Carolina Panthers.
Nope.
Don't know a whole lot about that. So we'll see, but I think we're pretty happy.
He's a rookie, right?
He is a rookie. Yep. I mean, I don't know, what he is a rookie out of Florida State, but I don't know what he's going to do, Logs, in terms of, I haven't tracked him throughout the preseason, that kind of stuff like that. He's an older rookie as well, coming in at the age of 25, which a little curious as a kicker. I don't know his full background before getting to Florida State. Maybe he was a soccer guy or something like that.
Speaking of older, their long snapper, which the Jaguars have one of the best in Ross Madison. The Panthers long snapper, who was voted a team captain. 15 years in the National Football League out of Notre Dame. How about that? I mean, longevity right there, baby.
No doubt. Wow, that is a long time. The Logs, I mean, this has got to be a unit, it's special teams. Now, coverage, we'll see how good they are. But, they moved on from Daniel Thomas. They're excited about Ray Lane, among others, I'm sure. But in terms of the specialists, the punting, the kicking, the snapping, for what that's worth, it's worth nothing until they mess up, right? And then it's, oh, my gosh, it's a tragedy. But you got to figure that that's worth something. Like the Jags, I feel, are going to have an edge against almost every team's unit going in. I mean, can you imagine that a team's going to have a better trio than what the Jags roll out there? I'm not saying it's going to be the sole determining factor in winning and losing football games, but it's nice to get an edge anywhere you can get it. Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm knocking on wood as I say this. I think you could make the case that Cam Little is one of the top 5 kickers, maybe top 3 in the National Football League. If you had a draft of kickers and you had only special teams coordinators as the guys doing the picking, I think he would be top 3. I think Logan Cook would be a top 3 punter, and I think Ross Madison would be a top 3 snapper. I mean, it's and no team has a luxury like this. And again, just like you said, we don't think about it until somebody messes up.
Right.
But we take it for granted. And these three guys are really freaking good. I mean, really good. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see, and Liam Cohen alluded to this a little bit after you had the Cam Little 70-yard field goal in the first preseason game about, hey, as a coach, now you got to kind of consider, when do you end up sending the punter out to punt it and pin him back, or when do you send your talented kicker out there to attempt, a long field goal? And I think that those are all legitimate talking points about decision-making for the head coach as this team moves into the regular season, and will be interesting to watch to see what decision he is making in those type of situations. And I think the Jaguars are very fortunate to have Heath Farwell and Luke Thompson as special teams coaches. And a lot of times you get a head coach that comes in and he cleans house just for the sake of cleaning house from the old staff. And Liam Cohen came in and said, I'm willing to look and listen and to learn. And he looked at what Heath Farwell and Luke Thompson were doing, not just from the kicker, snapper, punter combination, but what they were doing in coverage teams and return teams and the type of people that Heath Farwell and Luke Thompson are. And he ended up keeping them on and providing them a little bit of continuity in one facet of the game. So credit to Liam with that. And again, to echo this again, it's going to be interesting to see how the head coach makes his decisions when he gets right there in that long field goal / punt range.
Logs, are the undrafted free agents that the team kept in Strigo and Green good enough on special teams to be active on game day?
Yes. I mean, very surprising. And to me, I mean, that's usually a position that guys are, I don't want to say half-assed about it, but that's probably the best term that I could come up with, is that, a lot of times it's not a focus and a concentration. It's like asking a running back to play special teams. A lot of times they're like, no, I'm a runner. Well, defensive ends are usually like, oh, I'm too big, I can't run fast, and I'm a pass rusher. Well, B.J. Green and Danny Strigow have embraced the opportunity at being special teams players, and they're pretty damn good at it. I mean, Strigow's making plays on special teams, and B.J. Green's got great speed, and he's tough, and he hits hard. So it will be interesting to see if those guys get active on game day, because that's an easy decision if you're making that call based on the ability to contribute on special teams.
Well, you got those two guys. You got Emmanuel Ogba. You got Dwan Smoot. You got all the interior guys. You got the linebacker core. Logs, after Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker, who will be, in your opinion, the three most impactful pass rushers, assuming they stay healthy in 2025?
I think that Smoot is going to have a big impact. I really do. And you're asking besides Armstead, Josh Hines Allen, Trayvon.
No, I'm asking Walker. Just besides Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon. You can include the tackles if you want to in there.
Yeah, I think Armstead is going to have a big impact, and I think that's also me hoping that happens, because him having an impact in the middle would make everybody better. People that can provide that push. It makes the edge players so much better because it takes the quarterback off the spot. It doesn't have to necessarily always result in a sack. And so sack numbers for a defensive tackle a lot of times can be deceiving. But I think Smoot's going to have a big impact because he's got a great motor, first off. And number one, he's a great dude. He's a guy that's come home because he was originally drafted by the Jaguars out of Illinois back in 2017. He's got a great motor. He loves the game. He's always got a smile on his face. He's one of those guys that when you talk, again, about intangibly rich, he's one of those guys you want to have that's out there. And I think after that, I don't know. I want Emmanuel Ogba to be a big contributor. And if you look at his history, you would expect him to be one of those guys. But watching him in the preseason, I would say that it wasn't overly impressive. And that may be he's a veteran guy and he's saving what gas he has left in the tank to be able to put the pedal down, so to speak, once the regular season rolls around. So I don't know. So I think beyond those guys, it's going to be interesting to watch.
Talking about those guys for a moment, put on your amateur handicapper cap for me, if you would, Jeff. Where would you put the number of total sacks between Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker at going into 2025?
I'm hopeful, Tony, of about 24. I mean, I think that would be a really good number. And that's on the low side. I mean, obviously, in a perfect world, I'd love to see 30. But, I mean, if you're in the range of 24, that's a heck of a year. I don't care who you are. You get two guys in double digits. That's a fantastic year. And I think that those guys can achieve that. And I think for two reasons. One, we're not going to be deploying this hockey team on game day to where we rotate guys and then critical situations we have 44 and 41 sitting off on the sideline watching. And I think that they will find opportunities to rest. They're back at their playing weight, their natural playing weight, instead of being bulked up to 280 pounds and don't quite have the wind that they had when they play at 265, which is where they're currently at. So I think 24 is a good number, Tony. And then again, I'll take the over all day long if they can produce it.
All right. Well, Logs, let's dwell on this as we've got our final segment coming up. When we come back, I'd like you to tell us what aspect of the team you have the most confidence in and what aspect of the team you have the most questions about still remaining with the opener just 5 days away. So we'll do that on the other side on our first official Check the Tape Tuesday of game week of 2025. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark, and, of course, Jeff Lageman here with you on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Hurricane season on the First Coast can leave you in the dark, so why not get a head start on storm season with a home generator system from American Electrical? They've sold and installed more generators in Jacksonville than any other company around, with scores of whole home generator installations throughout North Florida. That's right, American Electrical has been installing and repairing thousands of generators for over a decade in Duval. Keep your loved ones and property protected. Log on to american-electrical.com and see how they can help you.
Sewer backups stink, literally. Tree roots, old pipes, or major clogs can be the cause. Superior Plumbing and Pipeline inspects and clears sewer lines fast. If your sewer's backed up, make the Superior choice and learn more at superiorplumbingjax.com.
Jaguars Today Tuesday is serviced by Julington Creek Pest Control.
We went to probably 4 or 5 jewelry stores.
Jacksonville's Mitch Vandal went to the town center looking for an engagement ring, but found the big box corporate jewelry experience wasn't for him.
Nobody was really helping us. One of the stores, some people walked in behind us and they were offered beer and champagne, and I'm wearing shorts and a cutoff, so I don't really look the part. So I was like, well, I guess we'll go somewhere else. I don't know if they think we can afford to shop here or what.
So he went across and discovered locally owned Beards Diamonds.
When I walked in, everybody just said, hey, welcome in. Welcome to Beards.
Mitch loved the service and attention he got at Beards and ended up with a bigger, better quality diamond.
It was about twice the size of what I thought I could afford, and it was also about twice the size of what my wife thought she wanted.
Today, Mitch tells all his friends, shop local, shop Beards.
You're going to get the best deal on the best diamond.
Unbeatable value, unmatched selection, uncompromising personal service.
Anybody that I know, I want them to shop at Beards.
Beards Diamonds, St. John's Town Center.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too. From Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
All right, Prosser here, and I've been telling you about Chad and Sandy. They make the promise. Let me show you some of the proof. This is Nicoletta and Daniel in Panther Creek. We don't recommend this, but we bought our new house before we sold our old one. Then worst case scenario happened. Our old home failed to sell in a year with another realtor. Finally, we got smart. We hired Chad and Sandy, and they sold it in 10 days above asking price. These are the results you're getting with Chad and Sandy at chadandsandy.com. Area homes are selling, but you got to have the right people on your side. Maybe you want max price. Doesn't matter if you're buying or selling. Maybe you just want to sell right now. Well, fast, easy, and stress-free, that's what Chad and Sandy bring to you. They have this guarantee. They guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. They're the local real estate experts you can trust for all of your real estate needs. Go to ChadandSandy.com today. That's ChadandSandy.com or call that help hotline, 904-414-6200.
Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars. Make them your AC partner. With honest cost estimates before they start the work with no hidden fees. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentist and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
1010XL, presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farrah doesn't flinch.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Well, hopefully after this cool down, the Jags will be heating up, get to 1-0, and we can all celebrate for a week and then worry about the gauntlet to come. But let's take care of business at home on Sunday. Jeff Lageman here with us on our first Check the Tape Tuesday of game week for 2025. So, Jeff, I set it up. Let's start with the positive here. What is the aspect of the team, can be a position group, an aspect of coaching, whatever you like, that you have the most confidence in that the Jaguars are going to I'd say this. Let's leave the specialists out because we know how good they are, okay? Beyond that trio, what's the area of the team you have the most confidence in?
I'm gonna say just the weapons that Trevor Lawrence has at his disposal. I mean, you've got a Pro Bowl caliber guy in Brian Thomas Jr. You've got a Heisman Trophy winner to add in that equation. De'Ami Brown, who has great speed and an ultra productive, dependable Parker Washington. Brent Strange, who I think is going to have a big year, and then an absolutely full stable of running backs. I mean, I don't think that there has been, going back to the early years of the Jaguars would be the exception with Fred and Jimmy and Keenan and that whole crew. I don't know if there's been a better selection of weapons on the offensive side of the ball than what is going to be at Trevor's disposal. So I think that, to me, is the thing that's a reason to be really excited. And I expect Trevor to get back to his numbers of 2022 or even better, that 66% completion rate and above. And I think a lot of that pressure will be taken off of him because he's going to have a running game to help him out.
All right, well, let's hope that you have an accurate assessment, and this is not one of those Shad Khan, we have the best roster that the Jaguars have ever put on the field.
I didn't say roster.
I know you didn't. I'm just saying. I'm just looking at that aspect of it. So the other side of the coin is, where's your biggest concern lie heading into this Sunday?
Well, on the defense, again, and to go a little bit further as to why, I mean, mainly because last year there was a lot of things that weren't great. I think that Colin Saunders was brought in because they were concerned about the depth at the nose tackle, and Devon Hamilton, I don't think, had a great preseason. Eric Armstead was hurt a lot. Mason Smith was hurt a lot. Austin Johnson, a veteran guy, brought in. Foye moving back to Mike. Where's he going to be at? You got 2 guys that are, battling for that other linebacking position, which means that you don't have one guy that's great. So, I mean, I think that's a lot of questions. And this defense has got to be able to kind of overcome a lot of the unknowns that they weren't able to answer for themselves in preseason.
Jeff, am I crazy to say that Liam Cohen as a play caller is among the things that I have the most confidence in going into the season?
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Tony. I really do. I think that that is going to be a strong point. I think he's got a knack for that. I think it's a gift, and not everybody can be great offensive play callers. But look, everybody thought that a couple years ago that Tampa Bay had a phenomenal year with Baker Mayfield and Dave Canales. Well, guess what? Liam Cohen took it to another level last year with Baker Mayfield. So yeah, I would agree with you about the ability to call plays with Liam.
All right, we got about 3 minutes left, Logs, and we'll get your prediction for Sunday, at least how you feel about it going into it. But remind folks where they're going to be able to catch you, not only this week, but throughout the football season.
We got Jaguars Happy Hour Thursday at 4 o'clock, and then 5 o'clock we have the Liam Cohen Show with Liam Cohen.
How about that?
Be awesome.
The coach is going to be
good,
on
right?
The coach's show.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that. All right.
It's going to be on it. And excited for that. And then we have our Jaguars All Access at 7 o'clock at Strings downtown with a player to be named later. So excited about that with me and Brent Martineau and Kai. And then Saturday morning, the Outdoor Show, and then break it down, baby. It's game day on Sunday. Can't wait.
Gotta love that. All right. So, Logs, we're all in the same spot. We've seen what we've seen. We don't know what's going to happen. What does your gut tell you about how the opener of the Liam Cohen era is going to go here in Jacksonville?
I feel good about it. I feel good about it. But, again, a lot of that is fostered in the belief that this organization is headed in the right direction. I've said this in the off season that, in order to have success, you got to have good people, and you have to have people that are good at what they do. Now, there's a little bit of inexperience, with Liam Cohen and Tony Baselli and James Gladstone. But the one thing that I know is that they're good people. And so you got a chance there. And it seems that the chemistry between those three guys and the organization as a whole is as solid as it's ever been. And when you have that situation, I think it can foster success. And I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful that Liam Cohen has assembled the right staff, and there are going to be some growing pains along the way, and there's going to be some bumps in the road and some disappointment. But I think that if the quarterback can take that next step under what we believe is an excellent play caller and what we believe and what I believe, I should say, not necessarily you guys, that he's got the weapons around him to succeed, then this should be a good year for the Jaguars. Now, what does a good year for the Jaguars look like? I'll take a winning season. I'm not sitting here saying 12 wins, 13 wins, or anything like that. Just get this organization pointed in the right direction and find more wins than losses.
All right, Logs, appreciate your service today, and it worked out quite well, even though we didn't have you here in studio. Glad you could answer as many questions as we had coming in, and we'll be listening to you all week long. Look forward to catching up with you on Sunday during the broadcast.
All right, Mike, Tony, and Dylan, you guys have a great rest of your day.
All right, buddy. There he goes, Jeff Lageman. Check the tape Tuesday. Game week edition in the books, and it's time now for XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
Big Sirs, how are you?
What's going on?
I know how you are.
No, how are we?
We are pretty good, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
I see the smile on your face.
Why not? I don't have a lot to smile about when it comes to college football.
This is a table of winners,
recently.
my friend.
It is, absolutely.
Charleston Southern got it, too, this weekend.
Oh,
yeah, Vandy delivered the blow.
They did deliver the blow.
Charlie
Absolutely.
South.
And listen, I picked the state of Florida to win over the weekend. FAU's the only team that kind of did.
Well, now, I'd like to say that's not true because Aaron, who is a young employee here, asked me who I was rooting for, who's my college team.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that would be Florida State. He goes, well, I'm sorry, right? Like trying to be a little sassy, right? It turns out he went to Bethune-Cookman, who got that, but they got destroyed this weekend by FIU. So I can't wait to see him around the office this week.
Bethune and FAU got destroyed, huh?
Yeah, Bethune. I mean, I guess when you saw that graphic about all the teams in Florida that won and the one that didn't, it meant to say all the teams that mattered that in Florida that won, or lost for that matter. So,
well, if you're a Bethune-Cookman alumni, then
sorry,
you feel slighted.
You shouldn't have had your guy Aaron talking that talk last week, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's payback week is what it is. I did enjoy it, sir. So we didn't talk about it because that's not what we talk about. But plenty on the Jaguar front. It's game week, man. You got to be excited, right?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely.
Have you seen Taylor Dahl today, by the way?
I have not.
you should make a point, being that she's a big Notre Dame fan. You should go out of your way.
Listen, I'm not the type of guy who rubs it in. I act like I've been there before.
No, he's just wearing head to toe green with the big U today.
Yeah.
Just messing with you, man.
No good.
Sirs, yes, congrats to us.
Appreciate it.
For having a good week.
Appreciate us.
Yeah, appreciate us, and let's go Jags.
You got it.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Leon Searcy and the XL Primetime crew coming up next here, man. I've never had any vitriol for Bethune-Cookman, Tony, but, yeah. Act like you've been there before. Come on. They have. They've been on the bad end of the beaten many a time in the past. All right. So Vanderbilt got it done this week. Huh?
They did. Yeah.
Good for them.
Virginia Tech this week.
I happen to not
a bit
notice.
of a step up in competition this week.
I don't know. Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know how good the rest of the ACC is. I don't think it's all that great, but whatever the case.
Well, it took care of them last year. We'll see if we can make it back-to-back against Tech.
Enjoy Jeff Lageman today. We'll have John Ogeron tomorrow and D-Rock Thursday.
It's game week, baby.
It is game week. Tom McManus Friday. We are ready to go. So for Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. If you're in Jaguars Today League number 2, we'll see you in the virtual draft room at 6 p.m. today. Otherwise, everybody else have a great day and keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.